You know, the hard part of getting new devices is always having to swap everything over. Now, I know I love Apple products because of the simplicity and just how everything like syncs together. So like I've got the AirPods, I've got the MacBook, I've got the iPhone, but I just went and got the iPhone 15 Pro Max yesterday because my other phone was starting to have like speaker issues, and like I had Apple Care, but they were having a deal on trading phones in because I just go straight through Apple anyway. So I just picked up a new phone, but I had to spend forever last night syncing my watch. Just went to go plug my AirPods in, you know, put them in my head, because this car, you know, perks of having a drift car at the moment doesn't have a good radio. Well, mostly speakers. It has a radio, no Bluetooth or aux, but no speakers that are worth a darn, so it's kind of crappy. So I drive with AirPods. So that's part of what we're talking about in this video is, you know, drift car life and what's it like daily driving it. So let me, you know, excuse me for a moment while I sync these. Hopefully. There we go. That should work now. Let's see if they connect. All right, we're good. We're in business. So I apologize ahead of time, you know, if for any, you know, wind noises, any crazy stuff like that. I'm not very good at filming this style of video, and I want to film more of this style of video because it's fun going for a drive, just filming, talking. And, you know, it's easy. I got the nice camera mount on the windshield, so it just works. My audio is just always garbage. So I have my lavalier mic, my Rode wireless lav mic right here on my hat. So we're going to see if this works. Now, mind you, I am in freaking Arizona. It is early summer, which means I don't know, it feels hot as balls right now, let me tell you. But yeah, so for this video, if there's bad audio, it's because I have the windows down, because I do have AC in this thing, despite it being a drift car. So it is a street car still, but the issue with my AC right now is that my climate control broke, and on these BMWs, these E36s, there's like a cable that goes on the vent, and that's what, you know, drives it hot to cold. And I just changed some cooling system stuff last week and was bleeding it. And so I have to pop my climate control out of the dash, which I don't have any trim tools with me. And then I just gotta reach back in there, grab the cable, and pull it the other direction to turn on the cold air. And I can't do that right now. So we're gonna sweat it out, so we got the windows down. But yeah, anyway, a lot of talking out of the way. The topic of this video is what's it like essentially daily driving a drift car. Now, I'll give you a rundown on what the car is. I am in a 1996 BMW 328 IS. So for those non-Beamer guys, it's a coupe. And yeah, I've had this thing for I think 11 months now, about to be 12 because we're coming into June in a few days. And I love this thing. So, you know, it's a BMW, so there's been a lot of learning curves. It's had some issues. I got it as an automatic, abandoned for the most part car with a healthy motor. So what I've done is I've kind of transformed it. I wanted to learn how to drift so I could be better on track, because I have an S2000 that I track. And as soon as I did my first actual drift event, after I kind of snowballed into the car because it needed a lot of love, but yeah, did my first drift event, and then I was like, wow, this is the best thing in the whole wide world. And now I'm just completely hooked on drifting. So I've already done 7 events. I've got an 8th and potentially a 9th coming up here in the next week, 2 weeks. So yeah, I don't know. It's just so fun. So any of you guys watching, obviously you're probably into drifting or you're looking to get into drifting. It's so ridiculously fun, dude. I can't even describe it. But in the meantime, I do have my S2000. It is also a street car. You know, I drive it a lot, but being that it's an S2000, it's a little dangerous to drive on the streets sometimes, especially here in the city, just because people suck at driving. And I really put the miles on that thing. So sometimes it's nice to just not. And that's where the BMW comes in. Now, if you're a regular watcher of the channel, I did recently pick up a Toyota Tundra that I've been using as a daily driver, which is great, but it's not great on gas because it's the V8. But for lack of a better term, this is my daily driver. I don't have to drive it every day, but I usually choose to because it is a fun car to be ripping around. So we'll go over a few pros and cons of it once these people learn how to merge on the freeway. But yeah, so here we go. I'm gonna just keep this thing rolling because I am strapped in and I cannot reach across the car to pause the video. So we're gonna have one long roller that's gonna be chopped up, and it's gonna be awkward if the camera doesn't overheat. Yeah, let me put this other window up and see if that'll help at all. I don't know if the wind's bad or not, but we'll find out. You know, maybe we'll just bring the window up a little bit and just sweat it out for a few. So anyway, yeah, back to where I was. All right, so let's start off talking about, you know, daily driving a drift car from a practicality sake. Is it practical? That entirely depends on your setup. This car, I wanted to keep it a street car setup, so it looks a little extreme, kind of, because I do have a roll cage in here. I just finished building this a few weeks ago, and I do have a bucket seat because the factory seats that were in here were the electric ones, so they're dumb heavy, and mine was broken. The reclining action and all that was broken, and so I couldn't really adjust it. It was super torn up and just ugly, so I got a free Sparko from my buddy Chapo, and then slapped that in here, so it's been great. But practicality wise, it's really not that bad in this car. Like, I do have the welded diff, which does make it a little tedious here and there getting around, but it's not the worst thing ever daily driving with the welded diff. Now, the only tedious part about that diff is, in my case, I got a 391 because this car was in automatic, so by doing the manual conversion with the gearing changes and the transmission, whatever, it just made it super short gears. Like, this thing right now, my speedo's off about 7 miles an hour. I'm at almost 4,000 RPM doing 72 miles an hour. And that's a little ignorant because I'm in Phoenix. People drive fast everywhere. Like, the speed limit is 65, sure, but everybody does 80 everywhere. Even the DPS officers, you know, they're blowing past you doing 80, 85. So I can't keep up with traffic to save my life. But that's okay. You know, slow and steady wins the race. I just hugged the right lane. It's fine, we're chilling. But so that's not exactly the most practical thing. You know, having the cage, I do need to get some safety tubing or safety padding on here. Again, I just built it, so cages, not the most practical to be daily driving it because A, you know, it's not safe, but B, you know, it is a little bit of a chore to get in and out, especially, you know, after leg days mostly, honestly. I just did some leg days like 2 days ago. My thighs are tore up right now. So trying to climb in and out of this thing is a little painful, but we're making it work. I mean, realistically, like, I don't have any other impractical things. Like, I do have a hydro handbrake here. I added this after like 4 or 5 drift events. So the only impractical side of that is mine isn't the style where you can throw a pin through it and use it as a parking brake. So I don't have a parking brake at the moment. That's a little impractical, but you can just leave it in gear. And being that I'm in the, you know, the valley of Arizona, there's not a whole lot of hills that I'm parking on, so it's not a big deal. I'll just leave it in gear, chalk it if I need to. So that's not the worst thing. You know, again, I mentioned I do have AC, so it's not fully impractical in that sense when it's, you know, set to AC like I mentioned. But the AC in this thing, it was all in there when I got the car, and I kind of was just like, yo, let's see if it works. Charge it up. It works great. So I just roll with it. So honestly, it's not a super impractical car. Now, I do run drift alignment specs, like, given they're moderate. So right now I'm rocking a CNC 71 angle kit, which gives me quite a bit of camber, you know, as angle kits do. So my alignment specs right now, I'm rocking like just under 7 degrees up front, zeroed out in the back, but I got like, I want to say 1/8 inch toe out up front, 1/8 inch toe in the rear. So the car is like, it's twitchy at freeway speeds. So it's like I have to kind of white knuckle the wheel a little bit because any little movement, you know, the car just wants to dart, which is great for drifting, especially when you go to flick in, you know, 3rd gear entries, you just give it a little skirt, just sends it. So it's great in that sense. But yeah, so on the freeways out here, they're a little tore up because they're doing road work. So the car tram lines a lot. Again, that's more of my case scenario, not like every drift car scenario. But I don't know, what do most drift cars have that make them impractical other than, you know, streetable drift cars, I should say, because, you know, whatever, say no comp car. So what, you know, cages, welded diff, you know, bucket seats and harnesses, and a cage or something. So it's really not that impractical. Like, I've never had a nice car in the sense of like comfortable, you know, daily driver spec other than my Tundra that I just got. So like, I don't mind it at all. I'm a little more grown up now, or aged past, you know, the gutted Honda life per se, because this car still has full front interior. The back half is gutted, but being that it's a coupe and not like a hatchback like my Integra, it feels a little bit more normal car-ish. Whereas the Integra, I have the same style, but it just feels so much more gutted because it's a big bubble in the back. But yeah, practicality wise, like, this thing just does it. Like, it's got plenty of trunk space, so, you know, grocery getting, it works. You know, going through the drive-thrus, other than the welded diff, you kind of gotta make a little noise to get through it. Not totally impractical. It still does its job just fine. The downsides of driving a drift car though every day is it's really easy to get in trouble because it's hard to be responsible in a car that you can just give it a quick smack on the clutch and go sideways. And granted, well, I don't know, whatever. Irresponsible side of me, that's just speaking. But driving in the rain in a welded diff, not gonna lie, kind of is terrifying. I've only had to do it twice because it only rains like 3 times here in Arizona. But the last time I had to do it, I was on a section of freeway that had a downward slope to it, and I was on some really bald tires, which I know is my fault. So if I had some, decent all seasons on or something, it would have probably made it a bit better. But yeah, driving a welded diff in the rain is a little sketchy just because it's so easy to kick that rear end out. And I'm sure any of you guys outside of Arizona where you actually have seasons and you get snow and stuff, it's probably a little sketchy for you in the snow and the rain and stuff. Honestly, I'm trying to sit here and think. Like I said, I can't reach the camera to pause the clips to do something in between to think of something up, so I'm kind of just rifling it off. But I genuinely, I can't think of any downsides of like daily driving a drift car. Like, it's fun. It's, I think I'm cool. I'm sure there's kids that I see or people on the freeway that are like, oh dang, that's a drift slutted out E36. Like, I don't know. My car's not super ugly, it's not super clean, so I'm sure I kind of just blend in until people see the cage when they drive next to me. But other than that, like, it's not that impractical. It's not the most practical. Like, any normal person would happily take it comfortable, non-bucketed, ice cold AC have, this doesn't have cruise control. That's the other downside. That was more my fault from doing the manual swap. I lost it in the manual swap because it's some wiring stuff that I don't understand. So I didn't want to mess with it. So I don't know. I'm really out of ideas on talking. So let me know your opinions, because this is kind of like I wanted a reaction out of some of the people in the comments here. Anybody that else is like me that drives a drift car daily or actually genuinely has their drift car as their only car, let me know what it's like for you guys, because I don't know. I love it. But granted that we're getting here into the heat of Arizona, BMWs, I've gone through this cooling system twice now on accident. So it's got everything done to it. It's got, the Stewart pump, it's got the Koyo radiator, or I forget, maybe it's Koyo, I don't remember. CSF? Yeah, CSF. But it's got all the upgrades. I just did all the hoses. Like, she is a solid little tank. If I don't have to drive it in the summer, I know the cage, it's not painted because I'm waiting to pull the windshield later to do some more work to it, so it's not painted, so that's going to be hot as balls getting in and out of this thing. I don't have tint on here. That's also impractical, but again, a personal choice just because I haven't gotten that far yet. So I don't know. What's your guys' daily driver drift car stories like? Because I want to hear them. I do want to add, to make a drift car actually, relatively practical to drive, just don't overbuild it. I kept this thing like super simple for a reason. I wanted it to be easy to drive. I wanted to be able to have as much seat time as possible. So yeah, don't get a crazy aggressive clutch, especially on stock power. Just get one that can handle the abuse of the clutch kick. You don't have to go full balls and gut it. Like, my car is not fast. It's a stock M52, and these cars aren't known for being light, but it puts in the work. It does what I need it to do. So no need to go crazy gutting, crazy clutch, crazy power. You don't need to boost it right away. Wait till you get your skill sets up there. You don't need to do a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff. And I think that's where a lot of people make it drift cars, impractical, but also a lot harder to enjoy, like this car. Like, this car, I can take it to the track. I can drive it 2 hours down to Tucson, Arizona, drift all day or all night at the track that they have down there, and I can drive this thing home without any issue because, I built it that way. I did everything like OEM plus. Everything that, should be mechanically sound, I did OEM. Anything that could be upgraded, like bushings, for example, I upgraded where I needed to. But I just kept it simple. And now, as a result of that, I can just drive this thing pretty much wherever. The only real issue I had is at the last drift event, I sprung a leak in a coolant line that I hadn't changed yet. That was all original. And then I've bent a handful of diff bolts, but that's the Achilles heel of the E36, and I've since then addressed the issue. And if the issue continues, I have another solution for it. But yeah, just keep it simple. Don't overbuild your drift car, and you won't have to worry about it being super annoying to drive every day. Like, again, welded diff and a stage 3 clutch in this thing, that's the most tedious part about it. But I don't know, that's just me. Whatever, let's hit this corner. drive the Manji all the way up the street. Hell yeah. What's my car want now? Check owner's manual. See owner's manual. What is that? Brake light circuit. Stupid BMWs, man, I tell you. But that's what a reliable drift car can do. This thing is not impractical in any sense. We can just rip it. And now we're here. So let's get some tacos, eh? Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. And again, I want to hear your opinions on your drift cars, or if you guys would, drive a car like this every day. Anyways, if you want to help support the channel further, I do have merch on the website. If you are Arizona local and you want some fab work done, hit me up at Velocity Race Fab. I have the website with email inquiries. I have the Instagram, have Velocity Race Fab, and I'm more than happy to do some fab work on you guys' cars. So anyways, guys, do it till I forget about the rest. We'll see you in the next one.